Chapter starts off Loki talking to the Rocks Pirates right where he left off. And he's saying this is Elbaf, but my dad isn't here. And then Rox is obviously intrigued that, oh my god, I'm talking to the king's son. What's he doing? And I also just love how big Loki is. Like, the continuity is not even a factor because Loki looks to be like 20 times the size at 5 years old. Like, you look at you see Rox here in this first panel, and Rox is like the size of his foot, not even like the size of his toe. So I just thought that was really funny. Just how the scaling always is. But one of my favorite parts of this chapter was when Rox says to Loki, "Just tell your dad you're hurt and have him come right over here." And then Loki says, "No, I'm not going to do that just because I'm hurt." And then Rox is like, "Well, we'll see." And he just beats the shit out of him. And he goes, there you have it. Loki's been seriously hurt. We also see Rox attacking. We have his weapon confirmed. He looks to be just like Roger and just like Shanks, holding that saber, ready to strike. So I wonder if there's something with that as well. I'm very curious to know what weapon this is. Probably one of the 12 Supreme Grade Blades. So something like that to be confirmed would be super, super cool, but I imagine it'll be a while before we get there. So after Loki gets absolutely mauled, we see a little bit of what happened at the Reverie with Rox. Okay, so it happened during that Reverie that very year. Someone attacked and kidnapped 5 of the kings. So what we have so far with this next panel, we have he kidnapped 5 leaders of nations, he kills an admiral, and then we see a panel of him snuck into the flower room with Emu. This was something that I did not expect. This was the last thing I would have expected. I mean, obviously there are some surprising twists, but to see him in the flower room with Emo and Gunko just posted up, just absolutely posted up with his pistol there, which also is an interesting question that he uses a sword and pistol, because to my knowledge, that's the first we've ever seen of that. I don't think Shanks used a pistol in Chapter 1, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But an intruder made it all the way into the flower room, hidden deep within the Holy Land. The man claimed to be a Davy Jonesian pirate. He knew there was nothing he could do in that moment, so he withdrew these words. And he said, "Just wait one day, I'll be back." So Rox D's back almost more than Loki's feats, right? Because we saw Loki, we saw him chained up there, but we didn't hear about his feats surviving miles and miles of a drop when he was 2 minutes old. And we didn't see that until later. I think Rox has set the record for the most ridiculous feats that we have ever seen in the first 2 chapters he's been released. Not even. We just saw his face reveal at the last page of the last chapter. And this man is posted up in front of Emu. And he said, "You just wait. I'll be back." Man, talk about an introduction for a guy that we've had hyped up for so long. This guy is the real deal. I know people had that theory, oh, Rox was just a weak pirate. Rox just had all these people under his control and all that. But man, I tell you, like, there is no way that this guy was a weakling. He has perhaps the chance to be one of the strongest guys in the entire verse. But the thing that sticks out to me is the man claimed to be a Davy Jonesian pirate. Now, I've looked into Davy Jones a little bit, and I've seen that he was just wicked sea soul. He was said to haunt ships. But Davy Jonesian pirate, what could that be? I'm thinking like a Davy Jonesian pirate. Maybe he wants to just extend his wrath on the world? I'm not really sure. I hope that gets elaborated on later. And to know that Davy Jones is most likely a character in One Piece now, if Roxy Zebek claims to be a Davy Jonesian pirate, I mean, I'm sure that it could just be a folklore thing, But how cool would it be if we see a Davy Jones in the series in like a Void Century flashback? But then after all this, after Rox posts up in the flower room in front of Emu, Aura farms on him, we see Harold running out of the Holy Land on fire. And I'm sorry, this is just classic One Piece, though. He's just saying, I'm so sorry the negotiations went south, hot, hot, hot. And he's just hitting a run out of there. And we see Rox D. Zebek trying to blame Harold. Well, not blaming him, but he's acting as the scapegoat for the 5 kings being murdered. And oh man, this scene is epic. This is the thumbnail of this video. But the clash between Harold and Rox D. Zebek. Man, I think we might have a new contender for the best clash in One Piece history. We got Whitebeard and Roger in the Odin flashback. We got Shanks and Whitebeard, split the skies. We got Luffy and Kaido, split the skies. I say, splitting the skies isn't a big deal. When we talk about, they said that everyone in a 5-kilometer radius was taken aback, absolutely knocked away from this blast. I think my favorite part about this scene as well is the aftermath of it, because you just see these 2 serious faces. These guys are like at the apex of the world, probably both top 5 strongest characters at the current arc in the story in the flashback. And they're just going from serious to they're just laughing. They're just having a great time. They're like, oh man, what's your name? How you doing, man? They're just making small talk in the fight. And just to see that crazed look in Rox D. Zebek's eyes. And then Harold goes, yeah, I'm Harold. What can I do for you? And also, Rox giving Harold advice I thought was such a cool part of this chapter. I loved that so much. He's like, yeah, I'm Rox. Angle your strike towards the town next time to blast away the Holy Knights. But I thought that was really cool. I thought that was a really cool point. This next panel, I would argue, is probably, at least for me, I think it's one of the most important in this chapter because we get a look at Rox D. Zebek's wanted poster. And let me tell you, this man looks exactly like Buggy. I'll put it up on the screen right now, them side by side. But oh my lord. I've been a fan ever since last chapter, right? Before that, I kind of thought the Rox D. Buggy theories were unsubstantiated. I didn't think they were very good. But man, I'm really feeling it now. Like, to see Rox just hit that same pose, he has the same eyes, he looks the exact same as Buggy. I'm just saying, we know that there are clones in One Piece. We know that there is futuristic technology that can be achieved in One Piece. And we also know that Blackbeard is said to have 3 people in one. From that, I'm thinking, no, this is most likely untrue, but what if Rox was split into 2 people? And those 2 people are Blackbeard and Buggy. Now, obviously, there would have to be some amnesia, memory wipe, DNA splicing. This is probably very untrue. They both sort of have the qualities of Rox, right? Blackbeard and Buggy both have that charismatic desire, ambition to rule the world. Blackbeard has the same crew as Rox. He has the same dream. He wants to be the king of the world. He wants to be recognized as a king. He has all of his strong crewmates that he gathered. His crewmates don't like him. I would say they're all in it for their own personal gain, just like Rox's crewmates are, or were, as we'll see later in this chapter. But I just can't help but think that Blackbeard got Rox's ambition for power, and Buggy got Rox's ambition for gold. Because we'll see later in this chapter, Rox just loves money. But anyway, that's just a small connection I wanted to touch on. I think there has to be some sort of Buggy connection here, right? I mean, of course, Oda could sway us one way and then say, "Oh, Buggy was never a part of it." But to show first the eye and that half side of his face look exactly like Buggy, and then we see his wanted poster is just literally the carbon copy of the man, like the exact same. I can't get over it. I just can't get over it. I'll move past this for now, but man, I really think the Buggy Rocks stock is up after this chapter. And then we also see that Rocks attacks a ship carrying a great amount of celestial tribute and steals the funds. So we see that Rocks attacks this ship, steals the funds, and this is the moment for me where I realized that Rocks was the most pirate we've seen, because he checks off all the boxes. After we see Rox's wanted poster, and after we see him plunder, we learn how Rox got his crew. And man, I mean, me personally, I'm sure this theory was out there, the Davy back fight for getting Rox's crewmates, but I didn't even think of this. I feel so dumb now. It felt like it was right in front of us the whole time. To get all of these strong guys from the Davy back fight, now we know why the Foxy arc was introduced. Now we know why we had to sit through that. I mean, obviously there was going to be some Davy back fight later in the series, but man, we get the line, Rox used this tradition to build his entire crew. They had won many scoundrels on their side before they even had a flag, and after that, they made their way to Elbaf. And let me just say, when we went into this Herald flashback, this was not the direction that I thought we would go in at all, and I am greatly surprised by that. I'm so happy that we have managed to get it here, because getting the Rocks lore here was just beautiful. Another thing that I think is so sweet is that we see King Harold returns to make sure Loki's okay. And Loki is just stunned. He is just taken aback by the fact that Harold had come back for him. Oh man, this just makes me feel, this really just hits the heartstrings. Because a guy in Loki who believed there was no chance at love, believed that everyone had given up on him, to have his father there for him, and for him to think, this must be a coincidence that he's back. He couldn't have come back for me. And then to immediately have that moment absolutely infringed upon by Rox's loud demeanor. Rox is just like boisterously yelling, drinking, they're eating. The whole panel of the crew. It's just such an amazing panel. They're all in their Elbaf gear. At least Rox is in his Elbaf attire. And he's saying, Harold, you gotta join my crew. We have Rox trying to get all of the warriors of Elbaf. Harold's not having it, but man, this dynamic between Rox and Harold is something that I really never would have expected. And then we get the breakdown of all of the pirates, and we see some new faces. We see Shiki the Wicked, not Golden Lion Shiki, which was really interesting. We see Miss Buckin the Tech Bandit. I just loved how all these guys had different names from what we know them as today. And then another very interesting character is Don Marlone. Now, I'm sure everyone is thinking the same thing, but Capone Gang Beige, perhaps? Some Capone Gang Beige connections here. Capone Gang Beige is from the West Blue, so it would make sense if he was related to or an affiliation of this Don Marlone character. I think that would be really cool. We see Newgate. We finally get to see Ochoku, the Commodore of Pirate Island, we've heard so much about. And then we see Ganzui, the smuggler. And I love these character designs. I think just because they remind me so much of the character designs of Blackbeard's crew as well. Just to see how Blackbeard has really followed in Rox's footsteps with building just the same crew, the same type of vibe, the same morale. All these guys act the exact same way that Blackbeard's crew does. They say, yeah, we don't care about Rox. He could die for all we care, but we like his mission, you know? Like, we're aligned with that. This is where we get a little bit of backstory about Rox and Hachinosu, which I love. We've been looking for it for a while. This is where we see Rox's plan to take over Hachinosu to make it into his own pirate island. It says I can already see the government and Marines standing there like clueless dogs. This is just the prologue to my life, using that island as me base. Now, I know I've said this before, I don't think we've ever seen someone carry a gun and a sword. I don't know if we've ever seen someone have this level of pirate talk, saying using the island as me base. Like, I don't know if this is just a scanlation thing. We'll have to see how the official translations do, obviously. But I thought this was just so cool to see a guy who was the epitome of a pirate. It just makes so much sense. Who else would it rather be than the father of Blackbeard to see those types of stereotypical pirates looting and plundering? And then we see his declaration saying that he's gonna be king of the world. Similar to how Van Augur revealed that Blackbeard's dream was to rule the world. And we see Loki. I love this little... I know I've said this 10 times in this chapter, but oh man, I love this panel so much. Just Loki peering through the door with that shocked expression on his face, just idolizing Rox. It's like he's like watching his favorite guy at a concert, just awestruck by this. And then in the next panel, we see Rox say, "There's no such thing as power that lasts forever. Join me, Herald. If we team up, we'll be unstoppable." And we see Loki just smiling. And we haven't seen him have the smile since he was a baby and was thrown out of the world tree. And then we see the quote from Rox, "I'm going to claim the whole damn world." And Loki's just grinning, and Loki realizes he's found his salvation. I am so excited for this next chapter. These things are just banger after banger. I hope you guys have enjoyed my little commentary. I didn't have much input on this today. Just thought I'd really go through this chapter, read it line by line, give you some of my surface level thoughts. It's my first video, so please go easy on me. If you're just watching, I hope you enjoyed what you saw. If you're staying till the end, I love you. You're amazing. I really appreciate it. That means I did a decent job at keeping you around. I imagine there's not many of you left, but if you enjoy it, I'm going to try and continue these. Like the video if you liked it. If you disliked it, dislike the video. Subscribe if you want to see more of these. Leave a comment asking any questions. I'll be super active to respond to those. And quote of the day, to have something that you've never had, you have to do something that you've never done. So I hope you all stay blessed and have a great time. Take care, y'all.